Alright guys, I am back with my review of this week's TNA Impact Wrestling for September 5th, 2013. And the show starts off with a little video showing a lot of promos by the guys in the Gauntlet match later. And what was interesting about this is Hernandez says, I got no shot of winning this, so I'm going to help someone else get 20 points. And then I was kind of like, is he saying that because he's pissed off? But then it shows Jay Bradley, and he says a certain organization paid him to make sure someone else doesn't get 20 points. So I guess it makes sense. I mean, even if these guys get 20 points, they got no shot at winning, so they might as well do some type of storyline with them. Then the Aces and Eights come out. Bully Ray hugs all the members and says Ken Anderson is the best vice president in the world and all this crap. And he says tonight Knuxie's going to beat Sabin. Wes and Garrett are going to beat the tag team champions, and Anderson's going to win the Gauntlet match. So I'm not sure why the Aces and Eights are getting put in all these matches if Hogan's in charge. Alright, so it's Knuxie versus Sabin. Bully Ray and Miss Tessmacher are at ringside. Bully throws Knuxie the hammer, and he tries to hit Sabin, but Sabin takes out his knee. And he drops the hammer. They both look at each other. Then they look at the hammer. They both go for it. Sabin gets it. Hits Knuxie in the head. Knuxie wins by disqualification. That was pretty much it. I didn't really care for this. I thought it was kind of shitty. Alright, so Sabin is backstage freaking out. He just keeps saying, this is not right. This is not right. And Velvet Sky is there trying to calm him down. And she says, you don't need a hammer to win. And he says, I didn't bring it into the ring, they brought it in. And then they go through this whole thing about how they always bring in the hammer and he wasn't going to use it. And then they repeat everything they just said. She's like, you don't need the hammer to win. I didn't bring it into the ring, they brought it into the ring. And this is not right. And then he says, this is crap. And I agree. Where is this going? Does this mean Sabin's going to turn heel because he's been using the hammer? What choice did he have? If he didn't use it, he would have been hit with a hammer. So that doesn't make sense. And why is TNA acknowledging Velvet Sky and Chris Sabin's real-life relationship now all of a sudden? So I have no idea where they're going with this. So Mickie James comes out. She was talking about Miley Cyrus or something. I kind of zoned out for a little bit here. But then ODB comes out and she says... I don't know. She says she's going to be the next Knockouts champion or something. So Mickie attacks her from behind. They start fighting. And ODB gets the upper hand and then holds up the title. Then Mickie James comes over and grabs the title. They're not fighting anymore. And then ODB rips her top off. And Mickie James, I mean, she's still wearing like an undershirt type deal, covers herself with the Knockouts title and leaves. Then Jeremy Borash is backstage with Jay Bradley and Hernandez. Bradley says, organization paid me to handle some business tonight. And he tells Hernandez that he's not opposed to being business partners. And then, as I'm fast forwarding through the commercials, I see something with Knuxie. So I rewind it and go back to watch this. This was crazy as hell. So it's Knuxie after his big loss, or actually he won the match by disqualification. So he did win the match. But he's got an ice pack on the back of his head, and he's all happy. And he's with Wes Briscoe and Garrett Bischoff, and he's eating a sandwich. And the cameraman says, you got a little something in your beard. And he's like, that's dessert. Can't have a real dinner without dessert. And then they all just start laughing. What the He's not even upset that he was just hit in the head with a hammer. So this was completely crazy. I have no idea why they put this on television. And I remember the live show I went to, they said that the Bobby Roode match and the Joseph Park match would be on Spike TV, or some of it would be on Spike TV. And I said in that video, I bet you never see it. And yes, you never saw it. I don't know if they even put it on the website, or if they just wanted to forget that show ever happened, but for some reason this Knuxie thing reminded me of that. Alright, so it's the 12-man gauntlet match, which is basically a Royal Rumble. You're probably asking yourself, well, what about that giant ramp that's connected to the ring? Well, if you touch that, you're also eliminated. But I thought this match was pretty good. A few interesting things that happened. Samoa Joe knocks Anderson off the top rope, and the dude bust his head on the guardrail. I wouldn't be surprised if he had a concussion, and since I figured they would do Bully Ray versus Anderson at the No Surrender show, I don't know what's going to happen with that. I mean, who cares about any of the other aces and eights? So I guess we have to wait and see if Anderson was injured or not. There was another fan who had a giant Appletini sign. And this was awesome, and everybody started chanting Appletini at him. And then Bobby Roode came out, and that little girl immediately started screaming again. But it wasn't quite as bad here. Maybe it's because there was a lot of noise going on. But it comes down to Aries, Roode, Daniels, and AJ. And AJ eliminates Daniels for the win, so AJ gets the 20 points. And now the BFG Series Final Four is AJ Styles, Magnus, Austin Aries, and Bobby Roode. But it was a good match. I enjoyed the Gauntlet match. So AJ Styles advances, and as he was leaving, he was shaking hands with the fans and stuff like that, so still acting like babyface AJ. But when he came out for the Gauntlet match, he came out to the No One music. Who knows? So Bully Ray is backstage telling Anderson how disappointed he is in him. Then AJ cuts a promo about how he's going to win the BFG series. And then we see Sting talking to Rampage Jackson. And I thought Sting cut a good promo here. I really like this for some reason. I don't really know why. It felt real to me. Like Sting wasn't really going off a script or anything. And I don't know. I liked it. But Sting did tell Rampage about how he can never wrestle for the world title again. So I guess Hulk Hogan did fuck up last week when he said it was going to be Bully versus Sting for the world title, and they just had to make sure everybody knew that no, it's actually not for the world title. So that's why they did this. But I liked it, and Sting's talking about how that night when he lost the ability to ever go after the world title again, he actually realized he needed a family. So that was pretty much it. It's Gunner and James Storm versus Wes Briscoe and Garrett Bischoff. Match wasn't as bad as you would think it would be. However, it still had that whole nobody really gives a shit about this feel to it. And Garrett hits Gunner in the back with a chain and gets the win. So they're going to do this again with the titles on the line, I'm sure. May put them on the aces and eights, I don't know. I just didn't really care about this. It's two of the weakest members of the aces and eights. So Aries, Roode, and Magnus come out because AJ gets to pick his opponent for next week in the BFG Series Finals. And AJ comes out here to the Get Ready to Fly music, and he decides he's going to face Aries. So that means it's also going to be Roode versus Magnus next week, and Roode and Magnus cut promos on each other. Okay, so it's Sting versus Bully Ray, and before the match, Bully Ray says, "Let me remind you that this is a non-title match because I beat you at Slammiversary." And then he says, "Screw you, screw Hulk Hogan." So Hogan comes out, and he says that Tito is going to be removed from ringside, conveniently leaving Mr. Anderson. He didn't eliminate him for some reason. So Tony Formatlis takes away Tito Ortiz, and then Hogan says it's also going to be a no DQ match. So they have the match. Bully Ray cuts up the ring mat, exposing the wood again like he did at Slammiversary, and Sting gets him in the Scorpion Deathlock. The other aces and eights run out, and they attack Sting. Then the main event Mafia comes out and attacks the aces and eights. They all brawl to the back. And Sting gets Bully in the Scorpion Deathlock again. And Bully's begging Anderson, help me, do something. And Anderson pulls out the hammer, and he acts like he's too far away to give it to Bully, and then he just throws it into the ring. So Bully can't get it. and Bully ends up tapping out, and Mr. Anderson gets in the ring. He mocks Bully Ray and says next week Bully will be facing him for the world title. And that's how the show ended. And I thought this was good. I like Anderson's babyface turn here. I thought they did a good job with that. The match itself, Sting versus Bully Ray, as you could expect, I mean, it's nothing really special. They barely did anything at all before the Aces and Eights came down to break it up, so they kept it really short here. But the main thing was Anderson's face turn, and they did go with that. And the show overall I thought was okay this week. I liked the Gauntlet match, and that took up a lot of time. And I like Anderson's turn here. And a couple good things here and there, so this was an okay show. But anyways, that's my review. Hope you guys liked the video. Leave your thoughts on this show in the comments, and thanks for watching.